Big point here, how Jesus did ministry affects how his church does ministry. Okay? It affects that. See, the whole reason they were looking after the poor is because that's what Jesus did. He healed the sick. He helped the poor. He ate at their houses. So they knew they had to do this, but they also knew that God loved all people, that Jesus sought after tax collectors. He sought after all kinds of people that in society that were marginalized, people they didn't want anything to do with. And so they knew this was a problem, but they weren't. Now, again, the question wasn't, are you helping the poor? They were helping the poor. The question was, or the accusation was, you are helping this side of the poor more than the other side of the poor. You are neglecting the Hellenists. You are neglecting the Greek-speaking Jews. Why would that be? Well, likely, the language you speak affects the people you hang out with. It does. It's just a true-to-life kind of thing. It affects people you hang out with. And so because there wasn't like particular attention to this distribution, something got overlooked. And they weren't able to take care of everybody equally because likely they didn't know all the Hellenistic widows. A lot of them, the people that are in the church are likely Aramaic-speaking Jews. That's the majority. The Hellenists are the minority. All right? So they're helping the poor, but they were unintentionally discriminating in their help of the poor. Now, and it's implied that this problem happened because of the church's increase in number. It says, when the disciples were increasing in number, a complaint by the Hellenists arose. All right? And so it's a big problem. And this is a big thing, a big deal. I think if we aren't intentional, we will neglect minority groups. We will. Because that's what the world does. MLK has this quote, and I'll put it up on the screen. Martin Luther King said this once, and I'll say it because it's MLK Day. Isn't that cool? It all works out. He says, there is no such thing as separate but equal. Separation, segregation inevitably makes for inequality. Racism doesn't start with just people just violence and hatred. It typically starts with sophisticated separatism. All right? No, I don't think anything of you at all. I just think you should be over there and I should be over here. That is the route and the way to get there if you're not careful. And the world will continuously do that. The world will continuously oppress minority groups because that's what the world does. It is sinful. All right? And it will do that. So if you are not intentional at equipping minority groups and being focused on them, you will unintentionally, at the worst, it'll be unintentional, but it's still going to happen. Right? Now, some people would say that, well, I mean, how's the church, how do you know the church is going to have an answer to these kind of social problems? I think the church is the only one that has the answer to these problems. We're the only place this should work. Right? Everybody else is saying, and this is interesting. Another quote from MLK, he says, we've learned to fly the air like birds. We've learned to swim the seas like fish, and yet we haven't learned to walk the earth like brothers and sisters. I think that's an interesting quote, and I think that will continue to happen. I don't think the world will ever figure that out. God's people will. They have to. They have. Jesus has already equipped us to do so.